Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam. So in our grammatical approach, so we have two components. So we'll learn some core grammar that will help us really break down things. So I like to think of it as, think of a Lego brick, right? So when you have something that you build from Legos, right? Let's say you build a car or a house. So you can see there are different components that are being used to build a house. So we'll share with you some grammar principles, some today and some in the upcoming sessions, that will help you whenever you're looking at a word, that will help you to break down the word so that you are able to understand what the word is made up of, and you're able to translate it into a meaning in your head as you're going through it. So that's one. The second concept that we'll look at is to build vocabulary. So typically words are built from 3 root letters. So most of the principles I will give you, they will work most of the time. Sometimes they won't work. So they're built with 3 root letters. So as an example, in the English language, if you look at the word act, what are the 3 root letters? Someone quickly type in the chat. Or look at the word teach, right? So once you can find that core and you have some understanding of the English language, you can see that, look, actor is consisting of act and or. And then if you look at actress, and you can see, okay, there's an act, and then there is component that makes it a feminine noun, and so on and so forth. Teach, teaching, teaches, taught. Okay, so you can connect it back to the core, which is to teach. So this is how we will be approaching the Arabic language as well. There are some advanced grammar principles which we may cover later on. In my opinion, they do not help tremendously with the understanding of Quran, but they're really helpful, especially if you want to read other books later on and so on and so forth. And one of the other type of importance that they have is, if you are memorizing the book of Allah, knowing those rules will help you make less mistakes, because those rules will help you understand that why is some word ending with a fatha or a kasra or a dhamma, why is it ending with a waw noon, why is it ending with a ya noon, and these are some of the typical mistakes that happen when people are memorizing the Quran. So with that, let's dive in. Okay, but what I would recommend you, what I would request you to do, is to take 1 or 2 words a day and to practice it. And one of the things that we will do at the end of the session, which we won't record, is the time where we will practice and test each other. So whoever wants to stay beyond for that, you're very welcome. And even if you haven't memorized it, we'll memorize it together in the class. But if you memorize it, you come prepared, then you will have a much better value that you will drive out from the class, inshallah. So with this, let's begin, inshallah. We'll go through the verses that we have done today, and we'll also look at one grammar chart today. Okay, so the grammar chart that we are looking at today is this one. Okay, so we have a chart for pronouns, sorry. Actually, yeah, let's take a look at this. So this chart that you have, this gives you a basic breakdown. Remember the Lego we talked about? So every word in the Arabic language will fall into one of these 3 categories. Either it's a noun, right? An object, a description, or it's a verb, it's describing an action, or it's a harf. Okay, some examples of harf are li, min, an, fi, bi, ala, inda, ila, ma. Okay, so these are also called prepositions. These are called prepositions. So if you look at it, it's saying the following table approximately comes 10,000 times in Quran. So if you understand these prepositions, they can tremendously help you. And we will see them as we come to them through the different verses that are under study. Okay, so that's one of the principles I wanted to share with you. I'm also going to put this in the chat, although for those of you watching the recording, you will see it in the video description. And you should have also received it in the email when you registered for the Zoom. Okay. The other chart that I want to cover today is the pronoun chart. Okay, and this is the equivalent of the he's and the she and they in the English language. So I'm going to be asking some questions, and I would really encourage you guys to participate in the chat, because that will help me understand how much of it has been understood by you, what do I need to repeat, and what can I move on from. Okay. All right. So we are looking into the prepositions. So you will see that obviously whenever you have a chart, the chart classifies things. So here on the rightmost column, the classification is based on first person, second person, and third person. So let me quickly explain what that is. And if it's not clear, then you should raise your hand or you should tell me to repeat again. So when I am speaking, the pronoun I represents me. The pronoun we represents the people I'm speaking on behalf of. So this is called first person, right? The one is speaking. The people that I'm speaking to, the pronoun for that is you, you all. This is called second person. The people, the object, the places that I'm talking about is called the third person, and some of the pronouns for that are he, she, they, etc. If I'm clear about first person, second person, third person, please put a 1 in the chat. And if I'm not clear, please raise your hand or put a 0 in the chat. No, actually, sorry, never mind. Put a 1 in the chat if I'm clear. And raise your hand if I'm not. Good. Okay, anyone I'm not clear about, just put a 0 and I'll repeat what I said. If I see a 0, I'll repeat myself. Okay, so far I don't see any zeros. I don't see any raised hand. Good. Okay, so the next classification here is based on gender. So the gender is mentioned . Okay, so it's mentioned in the here, right? It says male singular, MS for male singular. See, MS for male singular, MPL for male plural, FS for female singular, FPL for female plural. So basically that's your gender column or the gender rows. And then you have basically the second column is all singulars. The second column is all singulars. The third column is all plural. And the middle column here is for duals. So in the Arabic language, you also have something for duals when two people are being addressed. It's not used very commonly, but some of the time you will see the dual being used. So today I just want to focus on the singulars and the plurals. Okay, now within the singular, you have these two things. So you have hua and you have who or he. So what they're saying is attached or detached. So let me give you an example of what's going on. Let's focus on the pronoun he in the English language. Okay, I'm talking about a male student. So I'm saying, hey, you know what? Abdullah is my student. And I'm continuing to talk about Abdullah. So I will use which pronoun in the English language? I will say what? Dash is a hardworking student. What pronoun would go into the dash? Dash is a hardworking student. What pronoun would go into the dash? Okay, good. He. So everybody sees that. Now I'm changing it. So I'm saying Dash gave me a great gift. What would I say? Dash gave me a great gift. What would I put in the fill in the blank here? Good. Okay, so now what happened in these two scenarios? So we're talking about just a male student for now, just to keep it simple. So two things that are happening here. One, in the first sentence, I was describing my student. And in the second sentence, I was describing an action that the student did. Okay, so in both of those scenarios, we used he. So now from Arabic perspective, if this is a general rule. If the pronoun is doing an action, we will use the words that are in the white background. So we'll use huwa for he, and we will use hiya for she. We'll use anta for you, anti for you female, and ana for I. So these words will be used if the person is doing an action or we are describing the person. Is that statement clear? If it is, please type 1 in the chat. Good. Now I'm going to give another example. I expelled blank. What would come in the blank? I expelled blank. Or I gave a book to blank. What would come in the blank? Good. It will be him. It would be him. So when the pronoun is receiving an action, you will use the pronouns that are mentioned in the gray block. That are mentioned in the gray block. And we'll see example, we'll come back to it. Okay. I'm not giving examples because we'll get the examples from the verses that we are reading. Okay. The third thing is if I'm saying, let's see, I went home in dash car. Again, I'm talking about my male student. So what would come in the dash in the blank? His. Okay. So from an Arabic perspective, even for his or her, you will use what's coming in the gray block. What's coming in the gray block. So there's no distinction between his or him. It's the same, except in one scenario. So in the English language, sometimes you have a distinction, right? So for he, you have he, his, her. For she, you don't have it. You only have she and her. That's it. In English, you only have two, she and her. So in the Arabic, you only have two. So you have huwa or who or he, which is same. Only for the pronoun I, you actually have all the forms. Let me explain this. So if you're describing, or if the person is doing an action, you will use ana. So for example, لا أعبد قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم. So ana for I. Okay. However, if you're describing the relationship, so in English, what do we use for relationship? What do I say if I have to represent the car? So if I want to say I went home in blank car, what would come in the blank? Or I, what would come in the blank? Let me type it up. I went home in blank car. So here I'm using not his, yes, my car. Great, fantastic. So in the Arabic language, I will use ya. Ya for my. So as an example, when we say what? Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, what we're saying is glory to be my Lord. My Lord. So I'm adding a what? Ya, Rabbi. Rabbi. Okay. Now again, in the English language, if I'm saying my student invited, and I'm pointing to myself, what would come in the blank? My student invited blank. Me. Okay, so when I'm receiving an action, I would say me. So in the Arabic language, you would say what? Ni, as you see in the column here, ni. So for example, we say Alhamdulillahi allazi at'ama ni. All praises be to Allah who fed me. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. So this is our pronoun chart. So you can take a look at it every day, or whenever you're reading Quran, you identify pronouns, come back to it. Come back to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and read our Quran. We are using corpus.quran.com, and we are on verse number, let's take it again. Yes, verse number 48. So we'll open this in corpus.quran.com, verse number 48. And here I would recommend that you unmute yourself, especially if you don't have any background noise. And when I say the Arabic word, I would like you to say the English word. Sometime we'll repeat the English word several times as well. Okay, I'm trying to find the right page. Sorry about that. Come on. Okay, let's go word by word. Find the surah. All right. Okay, so we are here. So now you see in this website, it is giving you a colored form, so you can see the Lego bricks very easily. Okay, so wa is and. So remember this, wow means and. Okay, so hopefully some of you can unmute yourself, and as I see the Arabic, you can say the English. Wa.
And.
Good. Inna.
Indeed.
Okay, come on, guys. You see, that's it. That's how you're going to do it. That will help you practice, 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 right? Inna. Let's see if you can have some other people unmuting yourself. Inna. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good, thank you. So do that. It will only help you. Don't be shy because you're here to learn, right? And if practicing makes you easier to learn, and tomorrow you have 5 words memorized, that's it. Those who didn't do it, they didn't get the value out of it. Inna, indeed. And then who is it? Okay, so this is the pronoun. So if we look at our pronoun chart here, see, this is the who. Now in Arabic, you don't have any it. Everything is either masculine or feminine. So this is this. So indeed it, or indeed he. Okay. Now I know I mentioned to you that usually you would use this for him or his, but in this scenario, there's an exception. The exception is if something comes after inna, it becomes one of these. As opposed to you saying huwa, it becomes one of these. So that's the advanced rule. If you know it, great. If you don't worry about it. So innahu, so indeed it, or indeed he. Then you have what? La. So this la means emphasis, meaning that certainly, definitely. So this la, look at this. This is a different la. It's not the la that we have in the shahada. It's not la. That is lam alif. This is just lam fatha. Quick, la. So la means la. Come on, guys, sisters and brothers and sisters. Let's do it. La.
Surely.
Good. Right. Good. So la means certainly. And then you have what? Tadhkiratun. So this is the root that you have to remember from this is dhikr. Dhal kaf ra. Dhal kaf ra is for remembrance. And then this ta at the end, the rounded ta, this is just an indicator of a noun being feminine. So in the English language, you know how you have actress. So ESS is an indicator of something being feminine. Similarly, in the Arabic language, you have the ta, rounded ta, and one of the indicators of something being feminine. Latadhkiratun, definitely a reminder. Then you have what? Li. Li means for. And this li, as you can see, it says P, which is for prefix preposition. Preposition. So if you remember when I was showing you earlier that everything in Arabic is either a noun, a verb, or a preposition. I think it's here. See, so you also have it here. Li means for. I don't know why they have la here, but this is supposed to, I mean, sometimes it comes as la, so that's why they have it. So alhamdulillah, all praises are for Allah. So here you also have li. Oh, where did it go? Li for al-muttaqeen, the people who have taqwa. Okay, so let's take a look at the word muttaqeen. This is a very common pattern. So I want you to be able to take the Lego parts apart. Okay, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. So what do you have here? When you have the ya noon or the vav noon at the end, that's also an indicator of something being plural. So now you can remove that, right? So ya noon, simple, plural. Okay, so move it out. Then you have meme So if you see a word which starts with a meme and ends with a ya noon or waw noon, that's a good sign that this is a pattern, which means people who have the quality that's mentioned in the middle. So I'll give you some example. Muslimin, look, Muslimin. So you have meme and you have ya noon at the end. What do you have in the middle? Sin, lam, meme for Islam. So people who have Islam, people who have submitted are called Muslimin. Okay, mu'minin, same pattern, right? People who have iman are called mu'minin. Muttaqin, people who have taqwa. Munafiqin, people who have nifaq, and so on and so forth. Is that example clear? Is that pattern clear? If it is, type 1. All right, good. Makes me happy. Okay, next one, wa inna, and indeed we. Indeed we. So this is again coming from your pronoun chart. Oh, wrong one. See this? This na is for we. Now, somebody could argue that why is it not nahnu? So as I mentioned earlier, if you have the pronoun coming right after inna, you would use the form in the gray box. You wouldn't use the form in the white box. So that's why it's coming like this. Inna, indeed we. So inna, we already covered, means indeed, and na is for we. So inna, indeed we. La na'lamu. Okay, this is good. Again, this thing, repeat, right? So remember, we just saw that lam fatha means emphasis, which means definitely. Then you have what? Na'lamu. We know. Surely we know. Now, I haven't explored the verb chart with you today, but I'll just tell you that if a verb starts with a noon, it means we. We'll look at a verb chart next week. And then you're left with ilm, which is to know. Na'lamu, we know. Anna, that. Anna, guys, come on, unmute yourself. Anna, that. And this is
that.
good, thank you. And this is something we know from the Shahada as well. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa anna wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Abdullahi wa Rasuluh. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So anna means that, min, from. Okay, so min is a preposition, very common. A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajim. So min means from. Kum means you all. Where would you find kum? In our pronoun chart, right here. Kum means you all. It's a plural for second person, you all. So we know that from you are people who are what? Mukadhibin. Look at this. See, same pattern. Munafiqeen, Muslimin, Muttaqeen. Starts with a meme, ends with a waw noon or a ya noon. And then you have a core in the middle, which is kaf, dal, ba, which is to lie. Kidh. Mukadhibin, those who lie. Wa innahu. So this pattern now we already know. La for surely, hasra. So that's a new word. Ha, sin, ra, which means regret. So either unmute yourself or repeat after me 5 times. Hasra, regret.
Hasra.
So let me say the Arabic, you say the English. Hasra,
Regret.
hasra,
Regret. Regret.
hasra,
Regret.
hasra,
Regret.
Regret.
and last one, hasra.
Regret.
Good. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, the ta marbuta is for feminine. Ala means upon. That's one of the prepositions. We know this, again, very famous. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Send the salutations and greetings of prayer upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So ala means upon. Al-kafirin, the ones who are disbelievers. Again, yanun is for plural. You just have the core, which is kafara from kufr. Wa innahu la haqqu. Right? Surely a haqq, certainty, truth, al-yaqeen, certainly. Fa, so, sabbih is to do the tasbih. Okay, is to do the tasbih as a command form. Be means with. So even we say in the Bismillah, right? So be, ism, which is name, Bismillah, right? Bismi, with the name, Rabbi, Rabb. And what is the ka doing here? Your. Remember, if it's your, what do we use? We use the gray box. So if you look at the gray box here, For singular, it is kaf. Okay, now in the Quran, it may mean, so kaf is for male, but so because it's addressing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rabbika, your Rabb. Okay, tab. Al-Azim, the great, the most great. Al-Azim, the most great. Okay, so if you have any questions about the pronouns or these words, let me know. If not, we will stop the recording and we will do the practice for those of you who are, inshallah. Hopefully everyone is interested in the practice, inshallah. And I also want to bring up something that I will show you before we go into questions. Let's share screen again. Okay, so we have this playlist in our YouTube channel. It's called Just 29 Quranic, Arabic, and Vocab playlist. So you look at this. So the first video is actually showing you how to use an app. It's called Al-Quran. It's by Green Tag Apps. So we'll show you how to use this to build your vocabulary and how to find connected words, which I haven't shown you today. Let me do that actually in a second. The second one is showing you how to increase your Arabic vocabulary, some of the homeworks and habits you can develop. And this one is showing you the Corpus demo. Corpus demo. The Corpus is a website that we are using. And then we have all the previous sessions available for you. So right now, you don't have to worry about it. I think just keep catching up with the sessions you are on. And later on, if you wanted to, you can catch up with all the previous ones for Just 29. So I'll just quickly show you something really powerful on Corpus. Okay, so let's say if you go on Corpus and you go on word by word, if you click on any word, like let's say you click on Rahman, it will tell you the root letters are Ra, Ha, Mim. See? And if you click on concordance, it will give you all the places it comes in Quran. So that could be something really powerful if you're using a browser, if you're using the website. If not, you can also use the app that I have in the playlist. So any questions about today? If not, we'll close the session and then we'll go without recording and we'll just practice and for today's lesson. And hopefully next week when you come in the practice time, we'll just go and do the verses that we have done today. We'll practice them next week. So questions about the Arabic, our approach, grammar, anything else, raise your hand or put it in the chat, inshallah. And if you have any feedback, criticism, you can give us here or send us in the email, because this is meant to provide value. So if it's working for you, great. If it's not working, something else will work. Love to hear. All right. Everyone is quiet. طيب, thank you so much. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.